Namaste. Mars-Venus conjunction can be very challenging when it comes to relationships, love affairs, marriage. And so in this podcast, I have talked about this Mars-Venus conjunction. Generally, I have seen that those who have these conjunctions, they have either gone through certain bad experiences in relationships. Many also have gone through certain childhood abuses. So it all depends on where this conjunction falls. If this conjunction is falling in 8th house or 6th house or 12th house, then it is more difficult. It means that there will be more spice, more masala, more relationship breakups, even divorce. So many such possibilities are there when this conjunction happens. In this podcast, I have talked briefly on this Mars-Venus conjunction. Although there is one detailed video on Mars-Venus conjunction that I have already uploaded, but this is a shorter version. So let's begin. Mars Venus is a highly pleasure seeking, materialistic, fun loving person. Whenever Venus is afflicted by Mars or Rahu, passionate love affairs and inclination towards seeking partner to satisfy emotional and physical needs is seen. This magical conjunction in a good quality horoscope can give extraordinary attraction, and the woman with such a conjunction attracts opposite sex without taking any extra efforts. She is so sexually appealing and hot and attractive that no matter what, even if she moves around without any makeup, she will still attract men, and sometimes this can become a problem, especially for a woman having this conjunction. Sex becomes a very significant subject for these natives. Mahatma Gandhi had this conjunction with Mercury, and so in his autobiography, Mahatma Gandhi writes about his practices to overcome his sexual desires. In his autobiography, Mahatma Gandhi has written how guilt-ridden he was by the thought that he was having sex with his wife when his father passed away. In autobiography and in his letters, he writes about his experiments with women. There was intense attraction towards sex in his early days of life, and then later he took to these weird experiments to check whether he can control his carnal desires of having sex. So Mars Venus can be very strong in bringing intense desires of sex and sexual intercourse. Interestingly, Mahatma Gandhi has Mars Venus with Mercury in his ascendant. Whole life he continued to strive to overcome this carnal desires of having sex, and that is why he used to have these weird experiments of sleeping with young women or young girls in his ashram, as quoted by himself in his autobiography, Experiments with Truth, in which he mentions about his experiments with celibacy. The good thing about Mahatma Gandhi is that he is very honest in writing about his experiments with celibacy, which I think rarely would any person dare to do. Probably that's what makes him a Mahatma. In fact, Wikipedia also talks about his experiments regarding sexuality and celibacy. So now you can see how deeply this conjunction of Venus Mars can provoke your sexuality and sexual desires. The positive side of Venus Mars conjunction is that these natives can actually become great devotional beings. Devotional path Bhakti Marg is the answer to overcome this high voltage sexuality. Mahatma Gandhi always was inclined towards the devotional path. He was a Vaishnava and he used to love to listen to bhajans, devotional songs in his ashram. Similarly, Ammachi of Kerala, known as the hugging saint, also has this Mars Venus conjunction in Leo sign. She advocates the devotional path and the importance of chanting mantras. Jiddu Krishnamurti also had this conjunction of Venus Mars in Gemini sign. Venus Mars creates a certain attraction, and since Gemini is the sign of intellectualism and literature, Jiddu had the magic of attracting masses to his discourses and lectures. Osho Rajneesh also has this Mars Venus conjunction with Moon and Mercury in the 8th house in Sagittarius sign. Sagittarius is a born teacher, and Venus Mars in 8th introduced this new concept of sex to super consciousness. Osho himself says that he has written hundreds of books, but people just focused on his sex to super consciousness book. Sex and Mars Venus is indeed an interlinked topic. A stage came when Osho came to be known as the sex guru, and he has a strong Mars Venus conjunction in the 8th house. Similarly, this conjunction of Mars Venus continues to haunt men and women with its strong overdose of sexual urge and attraction towards the subject of sex. Now, depending on the quality of horoscope, the native makes use of this magical conjunction of Mars Venus. The motto of this sharing is to give you all just a taste of this conjunction, though it all depends on other planetary aspects as well. Mohan asked, what efforts one should take to practice celibacy? Someone who puts his effort directly into celibacy will be suppressing sex in the name of celibacy, and celibacy will not be happening. It will be only superficial. Deep within, the worms of sexual desire will be crawling. Inside, the snake of sexual desire will raise its hood. His life will become very unnatural. His life will become very difficult. There will be neither peace nor any harmony in life. He will fall deeply into duality. A continuous struggle will be going on within him. And how can divine be experienced while struggling? A non-struggling mind is needed. Only then is the experience of the divine possible. Overeating, eating garlic and onions, all of this leads to a high sexual urge. So controlling your diet and focusing on daily chanting and meditation is necessary. And even then, if you cannot control your sexual desires, then it is better to get married or to have a serious relationship so as to let you have a normal balanced life, which our ancient Sanatan Dharma has always emphasized on. Even our ancient sages such as Sage Parashar, Sage Valmiki and many other sages were married and they had children. So marriage or having a committed relationship is perfectly fine, and it does not affect or stop your spiritual progress. However, if you have taken to celibacy by becoming a full-time monk, that is a full-time sannyasi, then you have to follow the path of celibacy honestly. Then you need not balance anything, because now there is nothing to balance. You have renounced everything and you just have to keep walking on the path without worrying about the destination. Such a fakir, such a monk, such a blessed man someday attains, because he never was in rush to attain. For him, the journey had become the destination. He enjoys the journey, the longing for the Lord, and in this longing he loses himself. The ego is dropped, and then what remains is pure joy, pure happiness, pure heart. I pray that all of you experience this pure joy at some stage of your birth cycles. There is no need to rush, because everything happens when the time is right. Love to all my fellows. Stay happy and enjoy the celebrations. Happy Diwali to each one of you. Let the celebrations begin. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.